Hey guys, what's up? I decided that the political party slash economic idea that appealed most to me was the new economics and Buddhist economics. Um, there was a lot of reasons that this was the most compelling to me, but it's kind of mostly based on the issues presented within society at this time, including the coronavirus and also impending issues like climate change and renewable energy, genetically modified foods, all that kind of stuff kind of plays into that decision. I kind of believe that it is important to respond to the issues that show themselves with a compassionate response and one that puts people first, not businesses or economic growth or the draw of re-election into a political office. Those are the things that should not push someone to make a certain decision regarding in the government or in the economy, things like that. I plan on highlighting a few specific things and then kind of explaining what part of my past and what part of my personal opinion lead me to believing that this would be the most effective economic system. And all of my life, my mom and most of my family have been pretty spiritual and kind of like naturopathic, almost, in a sense that they believe that we shouldn't use a ton of hard medicines, or it's more important just to be in touch with oneself and like the being able to feed your soul and being able to keep your soul in a good place and keep your mental state in a good place is the best way to be successful within life. I see this same belief within the new economics and especially the Buddhist economics, because they have a belief in shared prosperity, sustainability, both of the planet and of yourself, democracy, and economic justice. And I think that those existing will also lead to the same kind of spiritual health and spiritual fulfillment that could come about from living a life similar to what the Buddhists teach. They think that the people and both the planet should come first, and I think that that's important because it isn't about making money. In the end, money can go away so quickly, but your life is what is more important, and being happy within it, and that is what the Buddhist economics focus on, and that kind of draws me to it as well. New economics also has a large focus on personal responsibility, and I think that this is extremely important, especially, say, if we're talking about the coronavirus, because you should feel personally responsible for your neighbor and for the well-being of the earth and of every person that inhabits the earth. And through Buddhist economics, it kind of pushes this personal responsibility more onto each person because they feel a greater connection to their neighbor. But in something like what we have now of this capitalism that exists, there is just more of a disconnect between each person, and oftentimes they just look at them as another customer or something like that kind of dehumanizes them and makes it easier for the person that is making all the money or that is pushing other people down to push people down, because they don't feel the connection that is as close as if they were kind of understood that every single person is just like them, whether they're in the top 1%, the top 0.1%, or the bottom 20%. We all have the same responsibility to each other, and I think that that would be especially helpful if you're talking about even with the earth, because you want to save the earth for everyone else around you and yourself, and that's why this personal responsibility helps a lot in kind of tackling world issues that we all are attempting to face, and doing it together, not alone. An interesting point about personal responsibility to bring up is the fact that it is this personal responsibility that kind of breaks down socialism at its core once it is put in practice, because no one will want to do well for the other people within socialism if everything is kind of done for them and everyone kind of has the same jobs and tasks. So it is this personal responsibility that is mostly the downfall of socialism, or where at least the downfall starts. One specific issue that the new economics and Buddhist economics focuses on is global warming, and I think that as a science major, I kind of have a keen insight into what exactly is going on, or maybe more than most people. I know that the earth is kind of not in a good situation, and I think that politics should be extremely sensitive to this kind of information. Say if it comes out in a new study that the earth is in a bad place because of XYZ, like something is going on and it might be easy to fix. And I think that right away. Like, politics should be able to respond to that and have policy to fix this. But in our current state, in the current political and economic state, it's kind of very slow to react to things like that, and it's a certain amount of years behind before we kind of adapt and change to what is helpful for the earth. Even if it is some sort of a compromise, it doesn't have to be stop everything, but I think that we could do a much better job at responding to new findings that, oh, the earth is like heating up entirely way too much for a lot of different organisms to survive. And another issue that this specific type of economics focuses on is genetically modified foods, and kind of attempting to combat those and bring back the organic movement and just bring back better farming. And I think that that kind of also makes me more keen on this specific type of economics, because all throughout my childhood and even up to now, my mom and my whole family have eaten mostly organic food and tried to stay away from GMOs. And that kind of, the fact that that's a big issue for them kind of resonates with me, because that has always been an important issue that I've dealt with or kind of been more attuned to. There are some things within this ideology that I don't fully agree with, and there's this idea of appropriate technology, and that all technology used should be small scale, energy efficient, and locally controlled. And while I believe that energy efficiency and being kind of somewhat locally controlled is beneficial because it kind of gives everyone an opportunity to benefit off of that technology, especially the earth would be benefiting quite well because they are energy efficient. I also think that having small scale technology and kind of limiting the what technology we could use would definitely decrease the connectedness of the globe, because right now one benefit of all this technology that we have is being able to be so connected and being able to have great relationships with people all around the world. And if we took this away, I think that we would feel less personally responsible for the people that are on the other side of the globe, and we would kind of feel disconnected from them. But at the same time, it could also increase your responsibility towards your neighbors. So I understand where they come from, but I think that the benefits of having higher technology and being able to be connected with the whole entire world would outweigh those that are very small scale and extremely locally controlled. Overall, I think that the new economics and Buddhist economics is something that, even if we don't adopt the whole thing, I think that adopting some of the ideas would be extremely helpful, because today there is a lot of disconnect. People kind of push others down just to make a quick buck or just to rise above others. And I think that there should be a greater connection between your community, your neighbors, and also the earth. And those issues like global warming and like the climate change are extremely important, because sooner rather than later, if we don't do anything, something will happen to the earth. And honestly, we are all responsible and in this together. And this kind of economic system definitely highlights that and kind of is able to bring that to the forefront and really show that we are responsible for each other, and that we are, like, if one of us perishes because of global warming or climate change, then we all will. It's not like it can't touch the highest of people and not just the lowest of people. Everyone's going to be affected. And I think it also shows that we depend a lot on each other. And if we can adopt some of the ideas from this, I know that I would be more keen on depending on others, because I would know that they would feel somewhat like they would want to help me, because I would want to help them. It's kind of like a good relationship like that. So I just think that overall these ideas would help a lot in the current situation that we are in.